Our predictions for 2026. What are those things that are differentiating the top marketers this year? Our predictions, your predictions, Ben. Let's get into the episode. First, how are you doing? How was your start to the new year?
Hi Julius, let's start with the intro we all know from Inglourious Bastards. Buongiorno. No, Happy New Year. Yeah, I really had a nice time celebrating with the family. But I'm glad to be back at the office. I'm really curious what 2026 will bring, and I think there's a lot of change and movement in the market. How about you?
Yeah, no, same. Had a good break, good relaxing break. Felt really recovered on Monday. Now it's Thursday, and the to-do list is full again.
You're no longer recovered?
Let's just say I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Today in the morning you said that your energy score is 70%, which is close to fully charged.
It's been a rough day, let's just say. But let's dive in. What are your thoughts, maybe also reflecting on the last year? What do you think will be the key differentiators for 2026?
Key differentiators, you probably mean what are the things that move the needle
Yes.
in marketing. Well, obviously, I am well prepared, as always. So I will make some predictions. Probably some of them are wrong, but I think that some of them will also be right. My first one is long-term planning wins the race. So companies that are not planning from week to week are already good. Companies that are planning from month to month, probably a little bit better. And if you really have a year or even two to plan and to define the strategy based on this period, it's a big competitive advantage. Why do I think that this is actually crucial? Well, when we look at digital marketing over the last 20 years, let's say 15 years ago, if you started doing Google Ads, it's very likely in your industry that you actually remained to the early movers. So you did something that not the majority of companies did. This is the reason why Google Ads 15 years ago was, for a lot of companies, really good. Today, you are probably in the minority if you are not doing it. So there is not much to win if you just rely on short-term strategies that worked 15 years ago. Surprisingly, most of the companies that have been early movers, they relied on this approach for the last 15 years, and it slowly faded out. 5 years ago, it wasn't a big deal because it was still working. I'm just talking about the average industry. So they just continued with their approach. They have not been. There was maybe just about half of the competition already in the market, and over the last years, it's probably for most of the companies really tricky to either scale classic lower funnel lead capturing, or actually to have a positive return, which is even worse. So I think that having Google Ads is comparable to paying taxes. You will have a problem if you turn them off, but you will definitely not win the race because you pay taxes. It's a little bit sad, and I think for Google it's also tricky because at some point you're not really adding value to the market, but I think that's part of their business model.
And so what do you mean by long-term strategies then? What should companies bet on for the year instead of Google Ads?
That's a brilliant question, and I have some answers. So the first one is positioning. There's a lot of great research on positioning, and positioning is the easiest way to generate better returns. Positioning yourself in the premium market, positioning yourself in a niche market. There are a lot of ways to position yourself. But you have to position yourself. If you position yourself in a niche, you obviously have a easier approach to clients. It's easier to pitch it, but the market isn't that big. But the profitability can be really great. If you position yourself as the quality leader, you can just simply charge more for the same service. So there are a lot of ways to position yourself, and positioning is something that is really tricky for all companies who relied on lower funnel marketing over the last years. Let's take the average B2B company. They take. I'm now taking SMEs and maybe enterprise, so I don't really talk about super tiny local players. Let's say you have an ad spend on Google Ads of 20K per month. You invest 5 to 10K on social, and maybe you do SEO and some website stuff. Most of the budget is absolutely lower funnel. And for lower funnel, if it's not profitable, then actually building up the brand is really tricky because the CPCs are high, so you don't really have a lot of audience that you can reach with this approach. And positioning yourself just before someone wants to close a deal is also very late. So if you go up the funnel and say, okay, lower funnel got really expensive, we're focusing on mid of funnel or even upper funnel, we're building up the brand, we have a very strong messaging house that resonates perfectly with our positioning. That's the long-term game, and playing the long game will probably win the race, simply because you make the life of the sales department far easier if you are well positioned. So if the client already knows your premium, your niche, or whatever, sales will close more, marketing will run much smoother over the time. The only thing you have to sacrifice is that you will not have short-term wins. But that's a sacrifice very, very hard for those that got used to having short-term wins over the last 20 years. But a lot of these companies, they didn't win over the last 12 months, over the last 2 years. So they already got used to not having short-term wins. So sacrifice isn't really a sacrifice. It's just getting used to the fact that the playbook has changed.
No, I think what you said makes sense also from a funnel perspective. I guess if you're only working in a lower funnel environment, you can just put your products out there. If someone wants to buy them, you pay for an ad that he sees. But if you want to go up the funnel, you really need to stick to one position to own it. You can't own 10 different positions in the upper funnel.
100%.
And I guess another thing there is you also need to stick to it long term, right? Being consistent with this position is also super important. You can't flip-flop if this service becoming controversial, but you need to stick to your messaging to build trust, I guess.
Typically, you can also do a segmentation of your audience and tailor the messaging to resonate better to each segment. It's not always necessary to have only one position. I mean, you might have different products and services, so you can do it a little more granular, but sticking to the positioning once it's defined, that's crucial.
Okay. Do you have another prediction?
Yes, I have another prediction. My third one is probably for all the marketers. I mean, what we spoke about now is pretty interesting also for CEOs, for CFOs, or whatever, but I think well-educated marketers are more important than ever. And when I say well-educated marketers, I really mean strategic working marketers that have the horizon not just for a specific channel, but actually deep knowledge in demand gen, deep knowledge in sales. And when we look at the last 10, 20 years, there were specialists in a lot of niches. And I think this made sense. You still need the specialists, so don't understand me wrong. I'm not saying that you should just send a generalist on every channel and he will rock it. You still need the specialists, but the driver for success is very likely someone who can orchestrate everything. It's necessary to understand a complete buying cycle and not just lead capturing or something. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old debate, right? Specialists versus generalists. I guess it's much harder to find those really well trained, educated generalists that can perform at that level. I think there's some theories that say, oh, you'd rather have a team of super specialists and each has their strength. If you need a quick
You need
scale
both.
team.
You need both. But the ratio was just shifted. So 10 years ago, you had 4 specialists
Mm-hmm.
and maybe 1 generalist.
Mm-hmm.
Now you definitely need 1 strong generalist.
Mm-hmm.
That's you need him
Mm-hmm.
or her, and maybe 1 or 2 specialists.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessary to have specialists for everything at the moment.
Yeah, of course. And I guess with the AI, the generalists' capabilities also become much wider or even wider into the specialists field in some cases.
100%,
No?
100%. But
Yeah.
the reason why well-educated marketers are one of my big bets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously the whole team is incredibly educated here at Media Charge, but this hypothesis also relates to positioning. Why? Because positioning isn't something you can simply track. Like you can have the nicest attribution model, you can have the best Google Ads campaign, you can have a brilliant LinkedIn campaign, but positioning means you have to understand the whole concept of how to position yourself, how to position your products, how to actually build up trust and awareness. And this is something that strongly resonates with positioning. So you need to be well educated, otherwise it's not possible.
Yeah. No,
Let's take a set where you have, in a setup, you have a Google Ads manager, you have 5 managers, 1 for social media, 1 for emails, 1 for... It's tricky to position yourself.
Yeah. Nice. Do you have another one?
I have 2 more, yes. So the next one is a quick one. Thought leader ads are no longer optional. They are the baseline. Why? People go on social media, specifically on LinkedIn, because they want to either learn or laugh or have fun or be inspired. And it's so easy to actually to satisfy someone who opens the LinkedIn app with a thought leader ad. It's easy, but it's really tricky with ads. So if you want to build trust and build awareness, why not going the easy way and starting with a real person to connect with, and afterwards you can still build the bridge to say, okay, this is the company that is behind this person, and that's a lot easier than just saying, okay, here's an ad. So thought leader ads are no longer optional. They are the baseline. And my 5th prediction is video content becomes the gold standard in B2B marketing. We have ad fatigue on an incredible level now. So when you take the classic advertisement, blah, 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 CTA, that's it. Forget it. No one cares about it. No one. You can have this. I'm not saying you should avoid classic CTAs, but think about every advertisement needs to be consumed. If it's not consumed, it's worth nothing. And the challenge now is to develop ads that are consumed. It's not the challenge to develop an ad. It's easy. You can create 5,000 ads with Figma or whatever. Click, click, bam, that's it. Meta even does it automatically now.
Yeah.
I think they look not so good, but they will look better soon.
They're getting better, yeah.
But the question is, how can you ensure that it's consumed? And video has an incredible information depth. You have the opportunity to advertise on YouTube. You can't even skip it. You want to watch a video, you have to watch. Okay, you can have YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
I really love my YouTube Premium, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah, video is crucial for explaining your offer, and it's super easy to build a connection.
Yeah, nice. I definitely agree with those. Maybe one question on the thought leader ads for brands that are just starting out with this. Should these be CEO content, or is brand ambassador also fine? Where do you see the most budgets being spent this year?
It depends on what's the goal. So if you really want to build trust for the company, you have different options. First option, you take someone who shows his face and says, well, I'm taking care of whatever, the company, the marketing, the customer, it can be everyone. And that's good because you show a face and people can actually relate to someone a lot better. Obviously, you can also collaborate with professional thought leaders, so influencers or top voices on LinkedIn or whatever they're called. Has some other benefits. Just like in the classic advertising, when you take a well-known person, people already know this person, they already probably trust this person, so you can gain a little bit from that. It's definitely, in the first place, a little bit more expensive if you take someone well-known, but it can be that it's net positive at the end of the day. I would be careful in betting too much on this. I think that for B2B, it makes sense if you have a big audience. So if you, let's say you're selling an accounting software for small companies or small to medium companies, let's say from one for the freelancer and 1 to 100 employees. That's probably a case where you could think about collaboration with a well-known influencer.
Yeah.
If you are selling diesel generators, 1 million upwards, well, I don't think it's a good idea to have this. That's just tricky to. The audience is probably too small to really. But I think that's it.
Cool. Thanks for those predictions.
I'm looking forward to 2026.
Yeah, me too.
Especially what we do here at Media Charge.
Yeah, we have a lot planned. Exciting things ahead. Yeah. See you next week, as always.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.